Welcome to Real Life Mentoring, where we explore real life issues to help you make an authentic difference in the world.
Hi, it's Chris and Christina, and today we have a special guest. We're going to let him introduce himself in just a second, but with the Real Life Mentoring podcast, as you know, we take a holistic approach to mentoring, and today we're going to focus in on the physical aspect. You'll understand why once we get into speaking with our guest. So, Chris, I'm going to let you have the honor of introducing this young man.
Yes, so we're talking with Jonathan Williams today. Jonathan, I believe we met probably, I'm going to say 6 or 7 years ago. We had just returned to Oklahoma from being overseas living, and you were connected with our son-in-law. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're originally from India.
Yes.
Okay, so how did you grow up in India, or did you grow up partly in the States?
I was born and raised in India, and then I came to the United States in 2017 for my higher education.
Okay, excellent. So you've started is it fair to say a fitness business?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, tell the audience what you want them to know about you, and then we'll talk about your business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, my name is Jonathan Williams. First of all, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It is an honor to be on here and just be able to share what the Lord has basically like placed in my life, the vision that He has given me through this business. My business is called Be Transformed Fitness. It comes from Romans 12:1 and 2, which basically talks about do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that verse has been a big part of my life. And so that kind of ties in with the vision that the Lord has given me. So I came to the United States in 2017 to pursue kinesiology at UCO, University of Central Oklahoma. And through that, I was just very much passionate about fitness, health, and lifestyle, and how you can just progress in life to live a better quality of life. Over the years, I was basically trying to figure out like what I want to do with my life with this background, with this fitness background. And I honestly tell people that like the Lord kind of like grabbed a hold of me because I was so persistent with working with athletes. I wanted to work with athletes. I wanted to learn what that looks like, what performance looks like, how to enhance performance. But I had like a 180 switch right around my junior year where I just kind of like almost grew a heart for older adults, older population, 65, 75 and up, where it was more so looked at, our perspective was shifted as we exercise because we need to instead of we exercise because we want to. And so that was kind of where that shift happened, where I was like, oh, shoot, this is more than just aesthetics. This is more than just, oh, I want to build biceps or have six-pack abs. This started to become more so about changing your quality of life, living a healthier, longer, better quality of life. And so that kind of like pushed me to that direction where I've always wanted to start a business, do something of my own. And so that kind of like helped me direct my path, where I then started this honestly last year. So it's only been a year old. So it's a very new, fresh, small business that I got to start. And I think that's about my fitness business. A little bit about myself. I kind of like reversed it. I should have introduced myself.
No, that's okay.
I should have told about myself first. I'm 26 years old. I have a beautiful wife and a beautiful son. My wife's name is Becca, and my son's name is Israel. And we just had him. So funny thing is, launched my business the day before Israel was born. That was not.
My goodness.
Yeah, that was not planned at all.
Do you purposely invite stress into your life?
That was like it's some may say yes, but that was not the plan. We still had like a week or so for his due date. So I was like, you know what? A week, I'll launch it, get things going, up and running. But he had other plans, God had other plans. So as soon as I launched it, Becca went into labor that night. And I was like, ooh, okay, so this is going to be a challenge. So since then, it honestly has been a roller coaster, but honestly, the Lord has just been faithful and just continued to direct me in different ways. And I'm working with 5 clients right now, and then continue to want to pursue getting more clients and be able to change more lives through this.
Well, just on a personal note, we have such fond affection for Jonathan because we've seen him like be college boy, then young man into married, and your baby is about the same age as our little
Yep.
grandson, and they're both have Indian papas and American girl mamas, and
Yep.
yeah, it's just so sweet. But Jonathan, were you raised with a, hey, I need to take care of my physical body mindset? Where did that come from?
So that's kind of where it started. So I honestly wasn't raised with that mindset. It was kind of like a general thing of just staying healthy, but not really focusing on it or being intentional about it. So my parents growing up had a bakery as a business, and they also had schools, but bakery was a side business. And the
Hey,
result,
Jonathan, you almost have to laugh. You've got a bakery business, which doesn't connect with fitness for me, but I love them
exactly.
both.
Right, exactly, exactly. And that was the thing, is just like having that bakery business resulted in me as the young kid of the house getting all the benefits from it because taste testing, love sweets. I developed a sweet tooth, and low key started like, gaining weight and actually living an unhealthy lifestyle because it was so easily accessible.
So
But
it's your
then
parents' fault.
right, yeah, so I blame them. Yeah, exactly. It's this is kind of like in a way kind of a little bit sad because of how my journey started on fitness was because so I started gaining weight, but I also started playing basketball right around that time, really started focusing on sports and stuff. One of my really good friends, older brother, kind of called me out on saying you can't really be a better athlete with that big gut of yours.
Wow.
Wow.
Right.
How old were you when that happened? When that you were told that?
I want to say I was in eighth grade, seventh or eighth grade.
Ouch.
You can't really
So,
be a good athlete with that gut on you.
right. And
Okay.
so that really was honestly like a defining moment for me where I was like, I mean, he's not wrong, but also
Mm.
was like, oh shoot, like something needs to change. And so I think that's kind of right around where I started really getting into fitness, watching YouTube videos of how to train to have speed and strength, be able to like jump higher because I was playing basketball. And that kind of like led me in that direction of pursuing fitness continuously and also just in higher education.
Wow.
Yeah.
In preparation for today, Jonathan, you sent us a quote, and I want to just read portions of that and then ask you questions on that. But in your words, you say, what stands out to me about my business is that my vision for the individuals I work with is to allow them to feel comfortable with exercise by educating them and providing them with tools that will allow them to make exercise an active part of their lifestyle. What does that mean?
The reason I say that, and that kind of is also the vision for my business, is to make exercise an active part of your lifestyle. A lot of the times when people think about exercise or when people think about going to the gym, lifting weights, doing cardio, whatever that may be, there's like this unspoken pressure or weight that they feel or carry. That means it's like, oh, if I lift weights, I gotta look good. Or if I lift weights, I gotta be able to lift this much or be able to do this much. Like they set these certain standards because they're looking and watching other people achieve these goals. And so what I want to do through my business is help people one just have the knowledge and education on what fitness really means and how you can be fit as well because it's for everybody. Everyone and anyone can do it. And so it's for everybody. It's not just for one set of people or a specific group of people, but it's for everybody and everybody should be able to do it. And so my goal is to basically teach them where it becomes easier to understand and easier to incorporate into your lifestyle so that you get to a point that you don't think about it, like this just becomes a second nature to you or a habit to you where you're just like, this is just part of my lifestyle. I am an active guy, I'm an active gal, I just do this so that I can stay fit.
Okay, earlier you said, are your clients focused on maybe 60, 65 and above?
Not necessarily. That's who
Okay.
I work with right now as a
Okay.
cardiac rehab therapist.
Because here's a thought. I wrote down on here, the mind impacts the body so much. right?
Yes.
So I was thinking, wow, if you're working with people older like that, and if fitness has never been a part of their life, or maybe it was when they were really young and then it was put on the shelf, how do you go about, would you say, if this is even a fair question, to address a mindset they may have that's incorrect that would keep them from actually stepping into true fitness?
For this specific question, the way I would see it is to kind of like show them results, for them to be able to see tangible results in their lifestyle, in their life. So, an example, I'm an exercise physiologist. That's my title because that's a certification I hold. And I work with heart patients currently. I work with heart patients who are coming off of like heart surgery, heart attack, things like that. So they're trying to rebuild their heart from what they went through. And so at that point, like they're already anxious, depressed, defeated. And so our goal is for them to start somewhere, whether that may look like 2 minutes of cardio exercise, 5 minutes of cardio exercise, whatever they can do. What that does is it starts building this site where it's like for them, even though they are so defeated in that stage, they may still be able to do 2 minutes. And so for them, it's like, oh, okay, I was able to do 2 minutes. So the next time when they come, then we do 5 minutes, then we do 10 minutes, and slowly progress that. Once they see that progression and just the ability to do that, what's happening at home is like they're able to do 10 minutes of something that they weren't able to because of their heart condition or the surgery in itself. And so
Mhm.
that kind of changes their perspective, and that starts to shift their perspective of like, oh, wait, I'm actually able to do something that I wasn't able to. And so why would I not keep doing this thing or continue to participate in this thing to make sure that I continue to get better? Does that kind of make sense?
No, it makes total sense. Do you find that, like, for instance, how long would you work with a client or a patient rather?
So patients, we work with them for right around 12 weeks.
12 weeks. So you have about 3 months to
Mhm.
see progression. Do
Yes.
you also see a difference in how they walk into your place of work and how they carry themselves, how they maybe they hold their head up now, their attitude? Do you see differences in that as well?
Oh, absolutely. Like that is one of the most rewarding things about this particular job and just the field, I would say. One of the stories that comes to my mind when you say that is I had a patient last year who went through a heart surgery. So they had their chest cut open and it was a quadruple bypass. So it's four times four vessels that were blocked and they had to bypass that. And so at that point, he's just completely defeated, he's just like depressed and he's just like I can't do anything, right? So age plus that surgery plus that heart functionality being deprived for that multiple years, he was just weak, right? So he came into our facility with a walker, and throughout the program he was just so or starting to get so like motivated and determined that he was basically doing everything that we were asking him to do. And in the 3 months that he worked with us, he was walking out. He still had his walker with him. He would, sometimes use it, sometimes doesn't use it. And he was starting to tell us that like he doesn't really need that walker. But when he graduated from our program, we were like, hey, you left your walker. What about like you need to take your walker with you, right? And he looked at us, and this is my favorite story and favorite line, I would say, to motivate other people. I tell them it's like he looked at us and he said, give it to someone who needs it,
Wow.
and left it there. And so we still have it in our department. And he was like, yeah, I don't need it. I'm strong enough. I walk without any walker. Like, he's standing up straight. He's proud of himself. He's proud of the work that he's put in. And he knows that this is something that he can prevent from happening again because he's gonna take all the education that we gave him, and take all of the progress that he's made, and he's gonna continue to live this lifestyle.
Do patients ever hug you goodbye?
They do. They
I
do.
would
And
I would think so because you've impacted them so you've impacted their soul. I think not just physically, but your soul is your mind, your will, your emotions. You've impacted people at the soul level, and I know you're a man of faith, so you're very deliberate. But also, they're going to go home, and you've impacted their spouses and children and other people because they are changed. Do you believe that?
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The amount of times that we have had patients that have wanted to give us a hug, taken a picture with us, or just basically said it through words that how much we've impacted their lives and how much it's changed. We hear from the spouses how much this has benefited, which this being the cardiac rehab program has benefited them, not just physically, but just mentally as well. Because that mental component, like you said, Chris, it's mind kind of like turns into body. Like if you're not in it with your mind, if you're not in it mentally there, physically, it's really impossible for you to do it.
Well, that's where we always come from, is this holistic approach. So you have patients, they've got a physical need, but like you said, they're depressed. So that's a mental thing. They
Hmm.
probably aren't engaging with those that they love as well. So that's a relational issue.
Right.
And so you're addressing what they're initially coming in there, but it impacts the whole person.
Exactly.
Jonathan, I want to mention these six for our audience, but for you, and do a mental check mark if you go, with what we do, that actually impacts that area as well. Is that fair? So we are spiritual, physical,
Hmm.
mental, emotional, relational, and professional and or educational, depending if you're working on your education or you're in the job force. Can you see where what you do actually connects with each of those at some point?
Yes, absolutely. Like we said, like it starts with the mental, it starts with the mind. And then once that starts changing your perspective, then you start doing things and you start seeing changes in physically. And when you're mentally and physically able to do the things that you really want to, then you start seeing that relational aspect where you're like, so for example, I would say it's like a lot of our patients, because they're in the older adult category or demographic, one of their biggest goals is to be able to play with their grandkids. And so
Mm.
when they are able to do that, that makes them happy. That builds that relationship with them, and then they want to do it more. And so that builds their relational aspect of it. And I think the professional, educational, or even just emotional is we do get middle-aged men and women, or even young people. We actually have been seeing a lot more younger people in our clinic than older people recently. For them, it's like, I want to be able to go back to work. And so when they go back to work with a good mental state and physical state, they're able to work better. For them, it's like, oh, I'm actually able to, productivity wise, I'm able to do more, not just because I'm healed, but I'm actually stronger and in a much better mental state.
You talked about most people like things have to be complicated or I need a quick fix versus your approach. So contrast what's typical, but how you approached good physical health.
Yes. In the world that we live in right now, with just so much information at hand, it is very easy for you to be able to just see something online and be like, oh, I'm going to do that, and that's going to fix all my problems. Which in reality, that's not the truth, right?
That's not
Um,
true. Great. You burst my bubble, Jonathan.
I know, I'm sorry. And that's just the truth and reality of it, because what we do with physically, we have to understand that if you have chronic back pain, that just didn't come in overnight. That chronic back pain or knee pain or whatever that may be, it just didn't happen like that. It took several different choices that we make, intentional and unintentional, but also just over the years of usage, over the years of inactivity, probably. It's all of that that is now compiling, and it's actually your body reflecting that, right? And so when it's taken that many years to get to that point, we cannot expect that to just change overnight, just like that. And so it takes that process. It takes that intentionality every day or every time, where you're doing simple things. Sometimes it may feel like you're literally not getting anywhere. Sometimes it may feel like, oh, this actually hurts, I'm not going to do it. But it's little things like that where you push through and you do continue to do that. That's when you start seeing change, because you are basically relearning or reteaching your body to move a certain way, which is how you were designed to move in the first place. And that takes time. Does that kind
Right.
of answer your question?
No, it
Absolutely.
does. I have so many notes on my paper I've taken already, Jonathan. And
That's
Christine, is there
awesome.
something you want to ask next, or can I step in here?
No, jump in.
Man, there's so much. In fact, Jonathan, we probably need to do another episode.
Oh, okay.
There's so much more we can go with this, but a few things you've said. You said earlier there's is it a want to or a need to?
Mm.
I know what those mean, but just tell us from your as a professional your perspective on that and what the problem with one or the other is.
The want to perspective comes in where you're like only seeing the outside of it. You're seeing training or exercising as an outside product, byproduct, where it's like, oh, I want to look good. I want to look aesthetically pleasing, right? Or I want to be able to run fast, or I want to lose weight. Like that's one of the biggest things that people want to do training or exercising for. The need part of it comes in when you start looking at internally, when you start looking at it like, what is it doing for my body from the inside? Because that's where it
I've never
starts.
thought about that.
So
The
that's
want to part. Okay.
mhm. So what I teach patients and clients through Be Transform Fitness, what my goal is to basically show them that all these goals that you may have with fitness, which would be weight loss, speed, performance, be able to lift heavy, things like that, right? All of those are byproducts of the things that you're going to do so that your heart's good, your brain's functioning well, your organs are functioning well, your liver, your kidney, like things like that, right? Now, I won't specifically just show you how your all of these organs are functioning well, but I'm basically teaching or helping you teach your body how these things need to work together well so that then when you're doing those things right, aesthetically pleasing, building stronger muscles, becoming more agile, becoming more fast, or whatever that goal may look like, that just comes with it. That's not the primary goal. That can't be the primary goal to start off with, but working with me, what I want you to do is like, or what I want to help you with is like changing that perspective of no, we're working on the inside. And
Mm,
that's kind of like that faith part of it as well that comes in. When we get saved, when we get transformed, it's all happening in the inside.
You're right.
It's not like I'm changing my behavior and then coming to Jesus Christ as my Lord. No,
yeah.
I'm making Jesus Christ my Lord, and then he's gonna change my mind and my body, right?
Mm,
And so that change starts taking place inside. When my heart starts changing, that's when everything else starts flowing. So that's
mm.
kind of like the reflection, I guess, with the faith part of it, the fitness part.
No, that's well said. I would say, I mean, I've been very deliberate with my fitness for probably 20 something years.
It shows.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
However, what's the inside look like? And so I didn't think about that for years, but I do now. I think about what's happening inside. But when you said earlier, a need to, I thought about someone's at the doctor and he says, look, you're going to die early or you're going to step into this next level of unhealthy living if you don't do something now. That need to. And I do
Hmm.
understand that, but I like how you said that. If I look at the need to, because I want to care for the internal. Christina has a nice Volkswagen Atlas that we bought last year, and it's beautiful on the outside and inside as well.
Right.
But a little light came on her dashboard recently, and it said something's off with the engine.
Hmm.
And we could make a choice. Well, just drive it. I'm sure it'll be fine. And it says there's a reason for that light coming on, going,
Right.
you need to check this out with the engine. It doesn't matter how good the outside looks, you're going to be on the side of the road if you don't take care of it. You mentioned
Yeah.
weight loss, so I wrote this down. Weight loss alone, and I know this, but to talk about it, weight loss alone is not fitness.
Hmm.
No, you didn't say that, but that's what I wrote down from something you said.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
I completely do. Because one of the biggest things that I have, I would say a challenge in this field when I work with people is the scales, the numbers. People get very bogged down with the numbers on the scales. And they're like, oh, I need to lose 15, 20 pounds. I need to lose 40 pounds, whatever that may be. One of the things that I've started doing is just asking them, like, what does that number look like and why? For example, a person's at 250 pounds and they want to lose to 225. So that's 25 pounds loss. But for what reason? Because what people don't understand is like, oh, as long as I see the number on that scale, I'm going to feel good. But the
Mm,
reality of that is that 225 may look like weaker than what I can keep you at 250 and make you look better or make you feel better, if that makes sense. You know what
So
I
I
mean?
can look good in my clothes and actually because I've lost weight per se, but actually be incredibly weak.
Exactly, because if you're not doing it right and you're not fueling your body with the right foods, you will lose a lot of muscle. And when you lose a lot of muscle, because that's what happens when people lose weight so rapidly, they will lose a lot of muscle. And that's what people sometimes don't understand because they're just focusing on that number or that scale. And weight loss, that's why, like you said, like it's not real fitness. Like real fitness would be, how do you feel? Can you do this? Tangible things where you're like, I'm actually feeling stronger, and you can do that at whatever number. But again, that weight loss comes as a byproduct where it's like, okay, if you are a heavy person and you lose couple pounds of weight, you can still look good, but you don't have to lose 40 pounds.
Yeah. Years ago, our youngest daughter, when she was born, I had horrible anxiety. And one of the things after she was born is I started going to the gym, and it
Hmm.
helped my mental. I just would, oh, it was so good for my mental. And
Yeah.
I've had period of sickness and I've not been to the gym. But boy, when I go and I just get my endorphins going and get my body moving, it affects how I feel in my head.
I actually, before I was about to get on this podcast, I kind of wanted to, because I love statistics and I love numbers. And man, when I tell you that science is on our side
Yeah.
when it comes to like exercise, because there's just been so many studies and so much information that just helps us understand how exercise not only just helps you physically, but it helps in all of these other components as well. So when you say all these endorphins, you releasing all these endorphins because of exercise, what's so cool about that is the endorphins that you're releasing is serotonin and dopamine. And what people sometimes, and this is just lack of education, but also just not everybody's reading the components in the medication that they're taking, right? But
Right.
serotonin is one of the biggest things that they put in antidepressants.
Mm,
And so exercise is a natural way of getting those antidepressant pills, if we want to call it that, because you're naturally releasing and teaching your body to release those endorphins in order for you to feel better, to feel
mm.
good.
We lived overseas. You lived in India growing up as a kid, and just I think the rest of the world, except for America, but their older people are moving a lot into old age because of just lifestyle. We lived across from the apartment from a 93-year-old woman who still walked to the grocery store and down 2 flights of stairs pretty
Hmm.
much on a regular basis. And she had health issues, but in the States, a 65-year-old man doesn't go out and walk his neighbor. Just
Yeah.
the differences in overall quality of life and health for Americans is not great. And so that's why you're going to find a niche for your Be Transformed Fitness, because it's changing the way people look at health and changing their own personal culture of what health means.
Absolutely. So earlier in the podcast, when you asked me, like, is my demographic, the attention that I'm focusing on is like, is it the older adults? It's a yes and a no, because I am more focused on just general population, but mainly focused on older adults, but also middle-aged adults, because that's where it all starts. Because for a lot of the times when we talk about like, man, like older adults, they are the ones who need exercise. I'm like, no, no, no. I mean, yes, they are,
Yeah.
but it all starts 20, 30 years ago. Like we touched on it a little bit before. It's like it's all an accumulation of all these years that you have not lifted weights and become strong
Mhm.
or created muscle or built muscle. One of my favorite statistics is an average adult loses 3 to 8% of muscle mass after the age of 30. That's 30 years old.
Depressing.
Wait. Say that again so people hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So an average adult loses 3 to 8% of their muscle mass after the age of 30.
Good. That's good. That's discouraging.
It is. It's
Left to
very
itself.
discouraging.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why resistance training is one of my favorite ways to train. While cardio is good for your heart, and I absolutely love it and encourage it, resistance training is what keeps you living longer and a better quality of life. And that's 3 to 8% per decade.
Wow.
So that's
Wow.
a pretty significant
That
loss
is, wow.
if you're not countering it with any kind of exercise, especially resistance training.
So it makes sense that people would fall as they get older.
Yeah.
That you would, yeah, stumble and not be able to lift certain things, basic things, what I would consider basic things at home.
Yeah. Yeah. Activities of daily living gets a little bit more complicated and harder as you lose muscle. And not only are you losing muscle, the more muscle you lose, the more bone density you lose. And
Wow.
so if you're gonna fall with a low muscle mass, that means you're more likely to break a hip because your bone density is low.
Wow.
They
I
go
think
hand in
we could
hand.
go on and on and on. I agree. We're going to schedule
Yes.
part two,
Absolutely.
but
I would love to.
kind of to wrap up, let's say the person, somebody's listening and they go, okay, all that's great. I haven't exercised in years. What would be a natural next step besides contacting you, you being their personal trainer?
Right.
What's a practical thing to build momentum toward doing something about their health?
So one of my favorite things to do is walking. Walking is the best exercise that is there because majority of the people can't do it, right? That's not that we all do it. We've all been doing it. It's nothing that you need to learn. It's nothing that you need to be more focused on. It's something that we all already do. Now we just need to be a little bit more intentional. So one of the best ways to start would be, if you're not already doing it, start with 10 minutes of walking after every meal,
Mm,
breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That makes you walk 30 minutes a day, breaking it up in 10 minutes, 30 minutes a day. And if you do it every day, you're literally so the general recommendation for exercise is 150 minutes of exercise, physical activity a week. So that would be 30 minutes a day, 5 times a week. So if you're just going to walk 10 minutes after every meal, and that's just 10 minutes, right? Whether you're in your office, whether you're wherever. And even if you're not able to get out of your office, just stand up and do a couple marches, 5 minutes of marches. That's all
uh-huh.
it takes. Because what that will do is it will release those endorphins, like we talked about, and it will
Wow.
move your body and it would not like just be you, it won't make you stiff. So when you start there, then you can slowly progress to maybe doing 15 minutes, maybe doing 20 minutes, or maybe doing the 30 minutes altogether.
Wow.
That helps my brain because I tend to do this. Okay, I don't have time to drive to the gym, and I usually spend an hour at the gym when I go. Some things happen, I can't do that today, and so in the past, I would not do anything then, as opposed to saying, "Well, walk for 10 minutes, Chris. I couldn't go to the gym like I wanted to, but that's okay. I'll go the next day possibly, but at least do something," is what you're saying.
Exactly, because something is always going to be better than nothing.
So I
Mm.
commit to you after this podcast, I'm going to walk to the donut shop. And
That's funny.
In your honor, your bakery passed.
yes,
I
uh,
know.
there's so we want to do a part two with you, but I want to read a statement that you shared with us. You said, I want people to know that sustainable transformation takes place when the formation of your mind, body, and soul is intertwined.
Yes.
So that's why we wanted to have you on here because you're taking a holistic approach,
Mhm.
and that makes such a difference, Jonathan.
Yes, the mind, body, and soul is such an intertwined thing already. A lot of people sometimes don't understand that or are not able to acknowledge that. And so, my goal is to bring that awareness, bring that perspective shift through this fitness business, be transformed. Is we got to get our minds right. And when we get our minds right, our body gets right. When our mind and body is right, our soul sees the benefit of it.
Wow.
So there are people listening to this who will listen to it, and they're probably really discouraged, or they feel like it's too late for me. And
Mm,
I appreciate the things you've said today because it doesn't have to be too late.
no.
Today's a new
Well, then
day.
start marching.
Today's a new
Yeah,
day. Yeah.
exactly. It's never too late. One of my favorite stories, and I'm not gonna share the story, but for people listening and for you guys to check it out, is you should look up Train with Joan. Her
Train
na-
with Joe.
Joan,
Joan. Okay.
Joan. Yes. And it's an amazing story and one of my favorite stories to share with people and just watch the story. It's the 65-year-old, she's in her 70s now. She was 65 when she started lifting weights. when she started really taking care of her body.
Wow.
And now she's doing like weightlifting competitions. She is doing like modeling and stuff, which is just amazing. The transformation is just amazing. And she just continues to talk about like it's never too late. She was 65. Her daughter was a trainer. She was like, Mom, you need to take care of your health. She was getting some form of like a heart diagnosis, but she picked it up and she's 73, 72. Don't quote me on that, but
Wow.
she looks amazing and she feels amazing.
Well, with that, I want to tell you the gym I work out at, I met a few years ago a man named Charlie, and I think Charlie is 92 or 3 now.
Mm,
So Charlie and I will talk, and I said, Charlie, how long you been working out? He goes, Chris, I was an engineer. I worked a lot in my career, and I had never worked out, gone to the gym until I was 65 years old. He was
wow.
65, just retired, and thought, well, I've got some choices to make. I'm
Hmm.
not getting healthier. And he started going to the gym. So here he is, 92 or 3, I believe. So that he encourages me.
Yeah, that's one of the other reasons I love working with older adults.
That's why he's
Yeah.
talking to us today,
That's
Chris.
why he's talking to us today. Christina,
That's
Christina,
fun.
anything else?
That's it. So usually, listeners, we tell you about our sponsor, but today's sponsor for today's show is, drum roll please, Be Transform Fitness. So Jonathan, give us all the information of how people can get a hold of you and what that process looks like.
Yes, absolutely. One of my main platforms that I am very consistent on is Instagram. And
Okay.
so you can follow me at Be Transformed Fitness, no space, nothing, no numbers, Be Transformed Fitness. And there is intake form that you can click on, but you can also reach out to me through my phone number, 405-938-6206. You can text me just saying that you're interested in training. What's going to happen is I'm either going to have you fill out a form or we're going to get on a 15 to 20-minute consultation call just to kind of see where you're at for me to be able to understand you and know you better so that I can help you better. And then we'll go from there. I do want to add that I am currently doing a 2-week free training for anybody who's interested, because a lot of the times I can understand that getting a personal trainer can be a little bit like scary because they're like, I don't know what to do. What are they, like, are they gonna literally kill me?
Yeah.
So my goal with this 2-week free training is to basically give them 2 weeks to see what it looks like to train with me. No strings attached. They just get to experience what my training style is, how I train people, and just for me to be able to get to know people and get to know them. And my goal is to give information and give education, no matter if you choose to be my client or not.
So Jonathan, is that when you say 2 weeks free, is that in-person training?
It's in person and virtual. It's a hybrid. Yeah. So
Okay.
it'd be in
I was
person.
just gonna, I was going to ask, we have listeners all over. So if they lived in Ohio or Germany, they can still
Right.
contact you.
Exactly. So I have an option of online training, and in person just depends on if I have people locally here.
Great.
Yes, and so the listeners know as well. So if you want in-person training with you, you live in the Oklahoma City, Oklahoma metro area.
Yes,
And
sir.
so just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yep.
great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Jonathan. Gosh, as always, we just want to thank you, listeners, for listening. Want to remind you, it's Be Transform Fitness is Jonathan's Instagram page. Look him up. We'll give all of the information in the transcript. But we know you have lots of choices for listening, so we're glad that you've turned to Real Life Mentoring Podcast today, and we hope today has been helpful and insightful. You know what? I'm going to challenge listeners to send this podcast to somebody 55 and older, and just send that as an encouragement to them. So, as always, thank you for listening to Real Life Mentoring Podcast.